His finishes have been sensational in the WAC conference tournament, and he played just a great game the other day. He's just a great all-around basketball player.
The 49ers feel like they've gotten a little respect. They said everyone had Georgetown on their brackets to be in the second round, but they easily beat the Hoyas. Versal Shaw was the surprise starter, had 19 points, but Sean Colson, as he has all season long, great leadership, 24 points, had 4 steals against the Hoyas. That was a career high, the 24 against Georgetown.
Well, one of the things you love about Colson was his durability. We know how tough it has been over the years to play against Georgetown's pressure, but he was there for over 35 minutes in that ball game, didn't turn it over, knew how to play the game. He's got a great assist-turnover ratio, the kind of backcourt player that you like if you're a coach in the NCAA tournament.
All right, Billy, I know you want to tip everyone off what to look for with the coach's edge in terms of Keith Van Horn today. So take it away.
Well, let's take a look at Keith Van Horn. We talk about a flare with a flare. A flare is when a guy moves on in and then steps out for his jumper. And watch what happens here for Van Horn. You have to protect him defensively because you assume that he's such a great jump shooter. You go out to guard him, and then he backdoor cuts, gets the perfect pass on the inside. Now take a look at the actual play. Here comes the back screen, the flare out for Van Horn. The defender says, hey, he's going to shoot the jumper. Van Horn goes backdoor, gets the layup. A terrific all-around player.
And Van Horn has just been introduced. Lineups are making their way onto the floor. And right now, hear what the coaches had to say.
To beat Utah, we've got to play maybe our best basketball of all year. Very talented team and can hurt you in a lot of different ways with the transition game, the half-court sets. That's a team that don't beat themselves, so we've got to really play well.
We're a very good defensive team, and we've got to block out. These guys are athletes extraordinaire. They played in a very athletic conference. We've got to put a body on them, or they're going to be doing a tap dance on our heads on the board.
Melvin Watkins, first year as the head coach, former team captain, who led the 49ers to the Final Four 20 years ago. Only lose to Marquette in the Final Four, where Rick Majerus was an assistant to Al McGuire. Starting lineup, DeMarco Johnson's the leading scorer and rebounder for Charlotte. Cool at center, 7-2. Colson with Shenderick Downs in the backcourt. Here's Rick Majerus. And his Utes, under his direction, they're accustomed to being in the second round. They're 5-0 under Rick in the first round. Van Horn joined by Hansen, Doliak, Ben Caton, and Andre Miller in the backcourt. Utah 27-3 on the season. Bob Donato will officiate today with Leroy Hendricks and Bob Garibaldi. Charlotte, the 7 seed in the West against the number 2 seed, Utah. 2 seeds already out of the tournament. South Carolina on Friday and Duke today.
Matchups will be interesting. Van Horn on DeMarco Johnson early.
And Cool with the hook over Doliak. Alexander Cool.
Doliak does not face many guys, Jim. His size and his strength. Cool has both.
Cool only averages 6 a game, but a beautiful soft touch on the hook that time. Doliak from the outside ties it at 2.
One of the great advantages Doliak has against a big, not-so-mobile center is taking him outside with the shot, much as we'll see Tim Duncan in the second game.
Inside they go, and DeMarco delivers. DeMarco Johnson.
We're already seeing something different than we saw the other day, and that's an inside post-up game by Johnson. He didn't get much of that against Georgetown. Caton had an outstanding opening round game. 6 for 7 shooting against Navy.
Miller thought someone might have gotten a piece of the arm. Looking around. Colson tries to bank it home. Rebound Doliak. Waiting for Van Horn to touch it. Pass inside. Caton, nice shot.
Beautiful cut by Caton, and Miller, who has such great look at the court. He and Colson are amazing, Jim. They've got 186 assists, 79 turnovers for Miller, 189 assists and 75 turnovers for Colson. So right about equal, about 2 1/4 assists to turnovers, which is a great ratio.
Cool comes up short on the flat-footed jumper. Caton with the rebound.
Oh, there's a beauty.
And Van Horn ducks it home.
Well, Miller now sitting in there at 188 assists on the year. 2 sensational plays.
6'4" Utes.
Both of these guards employed the pass right off the dribble really well.
Three-pointer. Too strong by Johnson. But Shaw saves it.
Shaw picking up right where he left off the other day. Sensational performance on his part. Coming into that basketball game, was only the 4th start of his career. He was 9 for 13. Had 19 points and 5 rebounds in 31 minutes. So very unlike a sub. There's that sensational pass.
Good hands, too.
Oh, great hands with Van Horn, who does have outstanding hands. And
Goliak at the other end committed his first foul, but now the Utes steal it. Hansen driving. Got the roll.
Pretty good job by Johnson. Held his ground, and Hansen went right on by him.
8-4 Utah. Opening minutes in Tucson. The regional site is San Jose, with Kentucky already advancing to the Sweet 16 yesterday, as well as St. Joe's. Shaw kicks it out. Colson 3, rattles out. Caton rebound, his second.
You can see Utah with an advantage, 7+ rebound advantage.
Van Horn, the lob for Miller.
He just rolled. I don't think Johnson can handle him man-to-man. Van Horn's got him in size and experience. We saw a similar roll move like that by Tim Duncan the other day on Brad Millard. It was a perfect pass. Utah really packing things back in now with their man-to-man defense. Excellent defensive club.
Cool. Second hook of the game. He's 1 for 3 from the field.
Rick Majerus said they were going to have to keep him off the offensive glass, and so far Utah has really shut him down in that respect. Probably not a good shot there by Goliak that time.
All Charlotte underneath for the rebound. Then Derek Downs goes inside, and a reach around foul on Drew Hansen.
Here we see Miller with his 3rd assist of the game. Perfect setup by Van Horn. DeMarco Johnson turns his head, and when he does, Van Horn delivers. And you can see Van Horn probably, Jim, not only in size but in reach as DeMarco Johnson by about 6 inches.
Johnson baseline jumper too strong. Who keeps it alive?
McTavish wondered what that body was all about. He came right over the top.
McTavish in for Miller right now. Gets a little breather. Charlotte has missed its last 7 attempts from the field. Shaw tries to break that streak. Make it 8.
Well, if you're Rick Majerus, you're happy to see Shaw not get off to such a strong start as he did yesterday.
Van Horn up and over. Cool. And the Utes on a run here, 12-4.
You know, maybe Georgetown took a lot out of this UNC Charlotte team, Jim. They really are not as quick as they were the other day. Don't look fresh at all.
Giving up 10 unanswered. Johnson got that one to go to break that 10-point run by the Utes.
If he does have any advantage on Van Horn, it would be in the power game down low. Van Horn's job will be to keep it away from him.
Goliak, Cool on his back. Goliak. Nice soft touch. Goliak, kind of unheralded. He had a good game on Friday. 14-point average, 8 rebounds a game.
Real solid WAC tournament. 12 against SMU, 15 against New Mexico, 11 against TCU. He'll be one of the premier centers in the country next year. So far, a terrific job by Utah not letting Colson penetrate with a dribble.
Up pass out of bounds. Turn it over.
Caton doing really a nice job defensively.
We've reached the under 16 timeout. Utah 6 out of 8 from the field, leading by
8. Cozy, huh? What? Whoa. Bedroom? No way. Security? How's the transportation? Classic fixtures. Ooh, what do we have here? Bud Light. Go ahead. It's got your name on it. I'll get my own. Nice. Huh?
I'll take it. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
That was close. I was down to my last one.
Budner, get these tax documents to our clients fast, but watch our costs.
FedEx can deliver it in 2 days for about $8. UPS can deliver it in 2 days for about $7.
Priority Mail can deliver it in 2 to 3 days for $3.
Smart move, Budner.
So, 873, what's your priority? Switch to Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
So, where do you want this?
Hey now, I ordered a new copier.
This is better than new, my friend.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Oh, what do we have here?
Wow.
Enlarges, too.
Even collates. I'll take it.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
That was close. I didn't think I could shove this baby through. See you tomorrow.
I go around. I was strong as I could be. I go around. Nothing ever got to me.
With the powerful Vortec engine in a Chevy truck, you can go 100,000 miles before the first scheduled tune-up. Great news, especially when you live 100,000 miles from nowhere.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Oldsmobile, Budweiser, Nike, and by Fidelity Investments.
Look at the intensity on the face of Alexander Krul defending. Doesn't get up high enough, though, and Doliak got the soft kick off the glass and off the rim.
Very nice touch. Krul playing behind Doliak. Doliak kind of siding Krul a little better and not allowing such an easy pass to go in. This is a nice move by Melvin Watkins here in the fact that he goes zone, and they use the boxing one so well against Georgetown. And this is interesting what he uses. He goes to a boxing one here and doesn't put it on Van Horn.
A lot of subs in the game for Utah, but Downs will take the jumper over Caton and hits it. Utah has brought in number 35, Jevin Johnson, for the first time. Also, Hano Medela, number 13. Andre Miller returns to the lineup as well for Utah.
Jim, checking his defense out right now. It's really interesting what they're running here. And it has confused Utah. And I'm sure if you're Rick Majerus, you want to pull Miller back out, take a look at the defense, send a cutter through to find out exactly what they're playing.
Van Horn 3 out of 4 from the field right now. All layups, 2 dunks earlier. There's a lay-in that kicks out. Van Horn gets a second try and lays it in.
Well, he's never had a better offensive rebound than he had against New Mexico, but that one wasn't bad either. There's banging on the inside, Medela and Cole.
49ers 22-8 on the year. Got an at-large bid out of Conference USA. Had a 3-6 record during the regular season against teams that are, well, that made up the field of 64.
Good ball reversal.
Downs.
Boy, Van Horn doing a tremendous job on the boards, both ends of the floor.
Caton open for a second, but closed in on him. Medela had a rough game
the other day. He's coming back nicely now. This young man's going to be an outstanding player.
From Helsinki, Finland. Freshman 6'9", and Utah with a 10-point lead.
And what Rick Majerus wants. Nice job by Caton.
Caton gets it over to a teammate, Johnson, who will drive in for the dunk. That's all Ben Caton with the steal and the presence of mind to find a teammate while he straddled the midcourt stripe.
Caton was 14 points against Navy, 6 or 7, but that's the best defensive play he's had in the NCAA tournament. Watch him dive out here for this ball. Terrific job by Caton. And since he didn't have possession, he's on the floor. He can give it up. Johnson picks it up and goes all the way to deliver 2 more for Utah. They're in control of this ball game.
Largest lead, 20-8, and a 20-second timeout called by UNC Charlotte.
Nice heads-up play by Ben Caton. He's a 25-year-old senior, so it's not like he doesn't have some experience.
Keith Van Horn's mother And baby Sabrina, Keith Van Horn's baby, 2-year-old daughter.
Keith takes a well-deserved rest. Rick Majerus really using his bench often and early here. Now Medela on Johnson inside.
Downs with a 3. He scored the last 5 for the 49ers. Miller driving. And a reach-in foul called on Charlotte. Colson called for the foul. University of Utah and Salt Lake City, 6-3 this year against tournament teams, and only 3 losses on the year. One of the 3 losses was on New Year's Eve to Wake Forest, and the Demon Deacons will be playing here later today, and those two could be on a collision course for a regional semifinal matchup in San Jose.
Very possible, and of course the loss that we had at New Mexico. New Mexico played an outstanding game. Rick's team was a little weary going in there, but that's not to take anything away from Dave Bliss's club, who will also be playing for a berth to advance.
Miller gets them both.
Good job by Medela to pull his hands away there. Flirted with the international ball rule, being able to go up and touch that ball on the rim.
Andre Davis, number 30, a senior, is in for Charlotte for the first time.
Smart play by Colson. Got Miller in the air and then put the shot up. You know, Jim, it's kind of interesting. You think about those. So many teams come into the NCAA tournament. They try so hard for so long, and they just can't get that win. You mentioned about UNC Charlotte, 77, making it to the NCAA Final Four. The last 3 times prior to the other day, they were in the NCAA tournament 3 times, 88, 92, and 95. They lost opening round all 3 times by a total of 10 points. When 3 shots out of it. You know, 2 games by 2 points, where you say just one more field goal. If somebody hits a 3 or somebody doesn't miss a certain foul shot, and you advance, and obviously they get this chance now. Big win over Georgetown.
Those 3 trips they lost in overtime to BYU, and 2-point losses to Iowa State and Stanford. Medela can't find the handle.
It's an excellent pass. He's got to be able to catch that and finish off. And Rick Majerus doing a lot of resting of his starting players. Van Horn going to get back into that lineup now.
Andre Davis.
Just nothing there for Davis.
Down, drives to the lane, pull-up jumper. He has 7. Cut the lead to 8.
He's an 1,000-point scorer. He's got 176 threes, and he realizes there's not much going on offensively as a team, so he's trying to do some things one-on-one.
Streaky score is Shanderick Downs, and hot streak right now. Push-off foul called against Charlotte, called against DeMarco Johnson. Well, the lead was 12. The 49ers have cut it to 8, and we'll be right back.
Only by going alone in silence can one get into the heart of the wilderness. All other travel is mere dust and hotels and baggage and chatter.
Bob, Joe Gaddy. I want you to know where we are in this deal. Oh, Leo, Joe Gaddy.
Across America, more people use Cellular One than any other cellular service.
Yeah.
Okay, Dad, you can use the phone now.
Oh, okay. Thanks, honey.
Here's croissant pockets from Hot Pockets brand. Let's try them.
Sandwiches stuffed with fabulous fillings like chicken and broccoli. Or ham and cheddar. And a tender, flaky crust. Outstanding. Croissant pockets from
Hot Pockets.
It has arrived. The day when you stop listening to the tales of other lives lived and begin the odyssey that will be your story. When you find the destiny to which you were born, all you need to bring with you is your honor, your courage, and your commitment. It's your journey. Make it a good one. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
You are all abnormally fast, and that makes you feel different. Let's start with you. Tell me your name and why you're here.
My name is Michael, and I'm fast.
My name is Randy, and I'm fast.
My name is Kenny, but I'm not that fast.
Kenny, you stole 75 bases last year. You've got Zoom air in your shoes. Try it again, okay?
My name is Kenny, and I'm fast, but not as fast as him.
Kenny, we can't like you until you like you. We're all on your side.
What is it? While she waits for the Supreme Court to decide whether a sitting president can be sued for sexual harassment, Paula Jones tells all to Ed Bradley tonight on 60 Minutes.
Billy, to break it down by conference, the WAC has not lost a team, but all of its teams are playing today. Utah here, Tulsa against Clemson, New Mexico against Louisville. Duke becomes the third ACC team ousted here on the first weekend.
Take a look at the Pac-10. Of course, everybody here in Tucson very happy with Arizona advancing as they have.
Hey, you look at the Pac-10 with UCLA and Cal, Arizona, all into the Sweet 16. Stanford will try to get there as well later today in a game against Wake Forest. Caton from the corner, no good, but here comes Shaw and Charlotte.
Excellent setup that time by Utah with a cross-court pass. Doliak setting the solid screen. Caton has the wide-open shot. He's got to hit those.
Giving up as many points after the 49ers inside as they did the entire game against the Hoyas. 22.
Well, what's happening right now to UNC Charlotte as well is the fact that the twosome of Doliak and Van Horn, one on one side, one on the other, causing real problems. There's Doliak pulling up as a two-guard for the third time today, shooting his jumper from the outside. That one just inside the three. Well, you can see here with Van Horn on Johnson, Doliak takes Gardner, who's much smaller, making him available for all kinds of rebounding opportunities.
Inside, nice pass from Colson. And the basket by Tremaine Gardner.
Gardner played some very valuable minutes for UNC Charlotte against Georgetown. Not from a scoring standpoint, but getting a lot of loose balls. And now they're setting up a little bit of a zone defensive situation. And I think you're seeing a box and one. Davis on Van Horn. Van Horn's not going anywhere. He's setting a screen out here for Caton.
Caton wide open. Nails the three. The first of the game for Utah. They're now 1 of 6.
I can assure you that Rick Majerus did a lot of work against the box and one because he saw how effective it was against Victor Page the other day. And Van Horn never moved.
Double team on DeMarco Johnson, who goes back outside.
Charlotte just can't get any zip today. Do you notice, Jim? They're just not flying.
No spurts either. So the steal by Hansen ahead to Van Horn from the baseline.
Is he out of bounds?
Yep, foot on the line.
Some catch, though. I mean, you know you're on the end line. You know the rim is, the backboard's in the way. So you don't have a lot of room to work with, and you still have the concentration to catch the ball before you try to make the play.
7'2", Alexander Kuhl returns. He has a baby brother back home in Germany, Johann, who's a mere 7'1". He's a lumberjack.
Well, we mentioned this the other day, Alexander Kuhl from UNC Charlotte and Alexander Kuhl from George Washington. This year, the UNC Charlotte product got the better of the two. Coming off a very serious foot injury that kept him out of action last year and some of this summer. Good idea by Miller. Doliak was moving.
That's the kind of pass, though, that UNC Charlotte just is not grabbing it and taking off. They're just a step behind it right now. Van Horn off the glass for an easy two. Now with 10.
There goes the versatility of a Van Horn. I mean, Shaw, pretty good defender for his size. Van Horn at 6'10", goes right on by him off the dribble.
29-16. Largest lead.
Nothing there. And Colson, I think Colson is tired, Jim. He worked so hard against Georgetown and played such a great basketball game. He's asking to come out right now.
Colson goes out along with Davis. Roderick Howard returns. Utah with the second longest win streak in the nation. Carolina now holds the honor after College of Charleston saw its streak come to a close yesterday. 23 straight wins the Cougars had before Arizona edged them in the Southeast.
Cole comes out on Goliak now after seeing those 3 jump shots.
And Warren short on the jumper. McTavish has come in for Miller in the Utah lineup.
You see Howard just a little bit quicker than Colson, which is very unusual, because Colson really was a speed merchant against Georgetown. Today he has some tired legs. And Goliak can give Poole that shot.
And Howard was well, a little tripped up trying to get to the ball. Utah 65% from the field.
A tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
Every 10 seconds or so, a stop sign goes up somewhere in America. And every 30 seconds, a traffic light goes up. It's as hard on your car as it is on you. It's stop and go. Stop and go. Stop and go driving. Use Pennzoil. Formulated for today's stop and go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
The forecast called for a calm, quiet meeting, but a tempest rages instead. It's often the case in today's international business climate, which is why the employee owners of United have prepared a place high above it all, with worldly comforts that refresh, restore, and renew. United Airlines, the calm before and after the storm. We don't just work here. Come fly our friendly skies.
This little celebration is brought to you by the people who've helped so many other people understand and enjoy cellular phones. Radio Shack, America's #1 retailer of cellular phones. Surprised? We're not. We're just happy. Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers. Activate now and get 1 year of free roadside emergency service.
Chevy Trucks is proud to help the U.S. ski team get where they are today. The rest is up to them. Chevy Trucks, proud sponsor of the U.S. ski team.
O'Brien and Clark Kellogg in New York. Utah jumps out to a 29-16 lead. Let's interrupt the game for a moment. We'll keep it in a box for you, send you around the tournament, show you what's going on. Down in Charlotte, you like this matchup, don't you, Clark?
I really do. Perimeter teams that play an up-tempo game. Kewan Garris, one of the key factors for Illinois. Great penetrator, good scorer, but he makes free throws in a big way. That's why they had actually advanced.
Chattanooga leading 5-3. They've won 18 in their last 21 games. 14 seed trying to get to the round of 16. Chattanooga led Georgia 15-0 early Friday.
Yeah, they made 14 of their first 18 shots in that one, Pat.
They're up by 2 now. Let's go out to Kansas City where Tulsa and Clemson are having an up-and-down game here. Tulsa, the story there is Shea Seals, who's in foul trouble big time. 19-15 to score Clemson and White.
Again, this is a physical game. Both of these teams like to play half-court basketball, getting to know each other. Both teams will need plenty of whirlpools and ice packs after this one. It'll be a lot of banging, thumping, and bumping going on in the paint.
Tulsa will have to look elsewhere for the time being for offense. Shea Seals has 3 fouls, no points. He's on the bench. He's their all-time leading scorer. Let's go to Pittsburgh now, where Louisville, New Mexico are playing. 27-25, New Mexico and White. 2:58 left before the intermission.
New Mexico got off to a good start. The key in this game, I think, is that the big three for New Mexico, Clayton Shields, Charles Smith, and Kenny Thomas, have to have big games. Between the three of them, they average about 36 points, about 42 points a game. And they'll have to be on top of their game against a pretty solid Louisville team.
Last time the Lobos went to the round of 16, Richard Nixon was president. So it's been a while. The WAC conference is 3-0 with all 3 schools in action today here on CBS. Louisville trying to find something. And they do. 27-27. 2 minutes left in the half. Let's send you back to Tucson now, where Utah leads 31-18. Billy Packer and our guy Jim Nance. Jim, you're back.
All right, thank you, Pat. A foul called against Shanderick Downs. A Van Horn basket while we were away, as well as 2 free throws at the other end by DeMarco Johnson. So a 13-point lead for Utah, 31-18. The last time Utah made it to the Final Four was during the LBJ years in the White House. 3 trips in all to the Final Four for this school. Van Horn.
Tim, there is UNC Charlotte setting up in a zone defense, but they just don't anticipate how Van Horn can get in the air. Van Horn placed himself perfectly behind the zone, and then the pass just went right over the top. Kuhl's not quick off his feet and doesn't really present a problem with that kind of an offensive maneuver.
Backing in this time, too strong, back to the iron, and Utah pulls it away. 15-point advantage, looking for more. Doliak from the outside. They've almost doubled up the 49ers, 35-18.
And you can see how frustrating that is for Kuhl, because Doliak's stepping outside, not going into a power game. Kuhl doesn't want to go out there to guard him, and I think right now Charlotte getting a little desperate. We see the alley-oop right over the top of the zone. See, Kuhl is not capable, with the lack of quick feet, to step back, and you see the perfect positioning behind him. Kuhl can't pivot quick enough, and it goes right over the top to Van Horn, who was waiting right on the blocks for the play. Terrific pass.
Charlotte only shooting 33% from the field.
Well, for those people who are seeing UNC Charlotte play today, they kind of miss the quick legs that they had against Georgetown. But again, Georgetown plays such a physical basketball game, makes you work so hard. Georgetown may not be a good shooting team, but nobody plays any harder than they do, and it really has taken a lot out of UNC Charlotte. Back screen by Van Horn.
Doliak driving and hammered on the way in. But they say the foul
on Doliak
is on Doliak. Yeah. Well. Doliak collects his second.
And he's going to sit down. Mettler comes in, and Rick Majerus having one of those kind of walk in the park so far as a coach. Matter of fact, Jim, he had his team work out in the park, basically in a parking lot the other day. Said he couldn't get enough gym space around town, so he just set up a court right at the hotel and had his team work out in the parking lot.
Ingus Bundy has come in, number 15 for UNC Charlotte.
You can see how Van Horn and Doliak are shielding and preventing the ball from going inside to DeMarco Johnson.
Wow. Right off the bench, Bundy with a 3. 5:21 Utah.
Melvin Watkins trying to get anything started here for his team.
Van Horn fade away, too strong, but Miller keeps it alive for Utah. Inside. That entry pass has just been so easy for Utah.
Well, what happened there is that Van Horn pulled to the outside. Hansen was setting the screen inside and just kept right on going. And the terrific eyes by Miller realized who was open.
DeMarco Johnson collects his second foul and heads to the bench.
And Miller's size for a backcourt player really gives him the opportunity to look sometimes over the top of the defense. Makes him such an effective assist man. The other thing that's interesting, Jim, and we see this so often in NCAA tournament, the crowd basically is not all into the game, so the kids are having to play almost like they're out on a playground somewhere going through the motions. And that's when you really need to be a well-coached, focused team so that you don't lose sight. It doesn't have to be fake emotion. It has to be playing on the basis of what you've been taught.
Melvin Watkins hoping to find some way of getting his team a spark. Gardner will go to the line. That was a foul on Van Horn, his first. It's a 1-on-1 situation for Tremaine Gardner, sophomore from Milwaukee.
Well, Melvin certainly has sparked the university. He's been involved with every NCAA tournament they've ever been in, every NIT they've been in, and of course every 20-win season they've ever been in. So he has quite a history there.
35-22 Utah, 4 minutes to go in the half.
Gardner now trying to body and muscle against Van Horn. Quick enough to stay with him. Will the size be a factor on a lob?
The pass, Cool got him with the arm.
Well, Cool is really getting frustrated now. He guards Doliak, and Doliak steps outside and shoots jumpers. Metola, who can put the ball on the floor. First time I really saw him in a big game was against Wake Forest this year, and showed he can put the ball on the floor and drive to the hoop. Cool really is a center, a 5-man, having to guard guys that are able to step out, and it's tough on him.
Metola was recruited by Majerus in pretty hard fashion too. He went all the way over to Finland, made the trip, said, "I want you to come to Utah." He said, "He's the only coach who came to my country to visit." Westbrook trying to recruit him by phone. Majerus got him. He's pleased with this lead too. 15.
Like all Americans, I like big things. Big prairies, big forests and mountains, big wheat fields, and everything else.
You know, AT&T is making long-distance calls from home simple. And now, a guarantee. Guarantee? Yeah, okay. If you're not satisfied that their prices are competitive, you get a month of long-distance free.
Up to $100 worth.
I have AT&T. It's the best value. They got the most powerful network.
What if I call if you have any questions, just call it.
1-800-COMPARE.
I have a sister. This is not the time.
AT&T quality, service, and guaranteed competitive prices, so you never have to worry about long-distance prices again.
Get bigger every day. Little girls, thank heaven for them all, no matter where, no matter who.
Think I'm in love. Reaching your financial goals can be a complex balancing act. At the Principal Financial Group, you will find the strength of our investment performance is your 401k retirement advantage. You'll find our flexibility will meet your insurance needs. And you'll find the balance of choice and quality you need in health coverage. For over 100 years, the Principal has made the complex simple. That's how we give you an edge. The Principal.
Get ready. You're my father? Yeah. For a Chicago Hope shocker. Alan Arkin guest stars with son Adam. All new CBS Monday.
Jim Nance and Billy Packer back in Tucson. Utah leading 37-22. Lights out, 62% from the field, although only 1 of 8 from behind the arc. And Van Horn, 7 of 12 from the field. Wonder when you see a team get on a roll, and a good luck kind of a roll like Utah had in the WAC tournament, thanks to Van Horn hitting the winners against SMU and New Mexico at the buzzer. Can that carry you on from a conference tournament right through the NCAA tournament?
Or, Jim, can it be such an emotional high that you can't really get back to it? You see it work both ways. You know, if we knew what the formula for success was, we can go out and sell that thing, but there is no such formula. We see it happen so many different ways.
Right now, no letdown for the Utes, that's for sure. Going the other way.
Nothing going right for Melvin Watkins. His team is tired. His point guard leader is tired. Doesn't have fresh legs. It'll be very difficult for this club to make a run to get back into this one. This year they had, maybe it can reverse what they had. They had 2 games in Charlotte this year in the Pepsi Classic, one against South Carolina and one against Southern Cal, where they had big leads in the first half. Looked like they're in control of the game, and then just went south on them in the second for 2 of their losses early in the year. Probably one of the reasons they didn't get a lot of national recognition. So maybe today they can turn it around the second half, but I think they really look to me like they need to get some energy legs, and that's tough to come by.
6 on the shot clock, and Miller launches it short. Gardner, good rebound, climbed high for that one.
Downs open. Colson couldn't get him the ball.
Bundy's hit 1 from 3-point land and a second.
And that was almost beyond 3-point land. And that's an example, Jim. A guy who did not get a lot of playing time the other day does have the fresh legs. He has the nice bounce on the jump shot. Comes in and gives him a big lift with 2 long jumpers.
17-point deficit down to 12. 2:20 remaining in the half. Inside and thrown away.
Good.
So first time we've seen any kind of flurry, and it's in a brief one, but maybe the 49ers can continue. Revan Knight and the Cardinals watching this game. They'll be playing in game 2 here at Tucson.
You very seldom see that in an NCAA tournament where a club comes out and sits and watches other teams play.
Colson with the jumper and a 20-second timeout. So a little rally here by UNC Charlotte, down at one point 35-18, outscoring the Utes 9-2 in the last 2.5 minutes. A big spark off the bench by Dominguez Bundy with 2 3-pointers. We have precisely 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Jim, you had 2 things happen right there. You had fresh legs come off the bench by an individual player, and you had a Utah club that looked like they were rolling along so easily that sometimes you lose your intensity. So one working well for UNC Charlotte, one not working so well for Utah.
Stanford and Wake Forest will be the second game here, and the Cardinals, including Revan Knight, some of the players in the stands watching this one. The 2 winners from Tucson today advance to San Jose and the West Regional, where Kentucky and St. Joseph's are already ticketed.
You know, the last team I can remember kind of doing that during an NCAA tournament, and there you see UNC Charlotte going back to their...
That was blocked by Gardner.
Going back to their box and 1 on Van Horn.
Gardner on the blocks. Cool with the rebound. Got it to go. Down to 8.
Now Rick Majerus got to get a little bit nervous. He's had this game well in hand. Did a lot of early substituting. And let's watch this defense. There is Downs is playing man-to-man on Van Horn. The other 4 playing a diamond zone.
Shot metal up. And Colson, little Sean Colson, 6-footer, pulls down the rebound. 11-2 run.
Does Rick Majerus allow this to go into halftime without using one of his 20-second timeouts?
Look at this underneath. Gardner was able to pick up the ball off the floor, and it's down to 6.
I don't know why Rick would be saving the 20. I know he wants to go after him at halftime.
And block.
Big foul.
And foul called against, is it Gardner? Called on Gardner.
Interesting. Bundy and Gardner off the bench with the fresh legs really turned it around for UNC Charlotte.
Now they're going to call it on Cool. And that's Alexander Cool's second. Coming up, Pennzoil at the half. Pat O'Brien and Clark Kellogg will get you updated on all the tournament news. Live look at the action going on in the NCAA tournament. Right now, a 4-way split around the country.
Jim, we go back to the game against Georgetown. Herschel Shaw had 9 for 13, 19 points, was sensational in that ball game as a starter. Today, he hasn't really been a factor. He's going to come into the game here defensively for the last 50 seconds. Cool going out.
He hasn't scored today, 19 as you mentioned on Friday, but nonetheless, this was a first half so overwhelmingly dominated by Majerus' side. And UNC Charlotte can make it respectable and close enough to have a second-half contest.
You kind of get the feeling that Rick wants to be able to blister his guys at halftime. He's saving it all up for them to go in and say, hey, look, we had a game put away and let it get away from us. Now we got to go back to work.
Van Horn's 2 free throws gives him 16 and a half. Colson got the screen, not the roll though, and Utah can take the last shot of the half. 39-31.
Spreading it out here, and they're still in the box and one, but pulling it out a little bit. Now, Melvin Watkins says, let's go man-to-man, but stay back in for a while. Colson doing a nice job not wanting Miller to touch the ball for the last 5 seconds, and he gets it accomplished.
From the corner, doesn't go, but Johnson has it, gets it away, and an 8-point game at halftime.
Good job by both Utah and UNC Charlotte not to foul on that one.
Let's go back to Pat in New York.
All right, Jim, see you later. Let's send everybody quickly down to Kansas City. Tulsa and Clemson, 30-27. 5 ties, 10 lead changes in this game. Courtside with Ted Robinson and Derek Dickey.
Clemson with the ball. Shot clock running down to end the first half. Tulsa leading by 3 in Kansas City. Vincent Witt operating. Got 2 players up, missed the shot. Shot clock runs out, but Tulsa has the ball.
Should have been a violation.
Rod Thompson sets up Gendry. And that will end the half. A bizarre half here in Kansas City. Very physical. Tulsa's All-American Shea Seals did not score a point. Yet Steve Robinson's Golden Hurricane leave the floor with the lead. It's Tulsa 30, Clemson 27. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship continues after this message.
Everyone wants color that keeps up with the pace of business. The Xerox DocuColor 40 prints or copies 40 color pages in just 60 seconds. It's an idea a lot of people have been waiting for. The Document Company, Xerox.
At Michelin, we believe a tire that's just good in the rain isn't good enough. The Michelin X1 with a 6-year unlimited mileage tread life warranty gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus Michelin confidence in most driving conditions. It has to, because the way we see it, you don't just cover a lot of miles, you cover a lot of weather. The Michelin X1.
Pizza Hut employee memo number 44. For Hoops fans, March brings one number to mind. 4! As in?
It's in the Final Four.
Right. So we're going to give them a deal that's easy to remember.
Back to work, everybody.
Give them a large pizza, a Pepsi, buffalo wings, and breadsticks.
That's 4 things.
4 things?
For 4 people.
For $4 each?
Yep, that's 4 things.
For $4 each?
For 4 people.
You guys are quicker than a point guard. Of course, once fans hear about this deal, you're not going to have time to work on that hook shot.
Oh.
Pat O'Brien in our New York studios. Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, Clark Kellogg and I will have all the tournament action. There's lots of it. After this message in a word, we'll also take...
Rumor has it there's a Porsche owner out there who also owns a Saturn. And sometimes he races it. Hard to believe? Well, it's even harder to find, because Porsche owners haven't been very forthcoming.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the biggest crock. Still, it is something we wanted to see, especially when we heard that sometimes he wins. Well, it is just a rumor.
Torn by secrets.
Your grandfather gave the order.
Bound by blood.
I'm about to decide your destiny.
Mario Puzo's The Last Dawn. CBS Sunday, May 11th.
CBS. Welcome home.
At Rick Hendricks Import Outlet, you'll be excited at what you're seeing through the window and on the window, because the payments are posted. Right now at Honda Cars of Concord, lease a new Honda Passport LX with air, just $289 a month for only 24 months.
What a great change.
How do you want to buy your next car or truck? The old way or the outlet way? at Honda Cars of Concord.
Get ready. The Indy Invasion hits Charlotte this July. It's a new breed of speed, the Indy Racing League, open-wheeled and wide open. At speeds of over 200 miles per hour, the only thing moving faster will be the best seats to this July's Charlotte 500. The Invasion's coming. Don't miss it. Call today.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 5, the ear. Ingeniously designed to capture sound waves, the ear allows Advance Auto Parts salespeople to hear every word you say.
I put coolant in the radiator, but it still overheats.
The more you talk, the more they listen. Hearing your problems out is how they figure the problem out. Only then do they use part number 9.
Sounds like the thermostat.
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Pay more than you have to for a used car, and you'll look even more ridiculous than you do on your driver's license. If that's possible. CarMax, the new way to buy used cars.
Points, and Tulsa up by 3.
A lot of thumping and bumping, chicken wings being thrown all over the place. Both of these teams like the pace and the way this game's been played. The foul trouble of Shea Seals could be a factor, though.
All right, talk about physical opening minutes, and underneath, look at him fight for the ball there, and he gets
Tom
it in.
Weidman, I think, was the guy who finally emerged out of that traffic.
Rafael Maldonado trying to pick up the slack, connects after grabbing the offensive board. Second later, he completes a three-point play. And then a freshman, Zach Bennett, drives a baseline and nails the short jumper. And Tulsa leads by 3. What's going to happen?
Well, again, the foul trouble of Shea Seals a factor. I think Clemson's guards are going to have to get into the game more. McIntyre and Cole need to knock down some three-point shots.
All right, out in Tucson, UNC Charlotte made some adjustments. Utah leads by 39-31 now. They did lead by 17 at one point. And Keith Van Horn, once again, the main man.
Versatile as they come. He can do it inside and out. Nice little alley-oop there.
Utah's D turns up the pressure. Ben Caton comes up for the steal, gives it to Jeff Johnson for the stuff. And Utah just too big maybe for them?
So far, but a nice run by UNC Charlotte to maintain contact and feel good going into halftime.
All right, those are our 2 games at halftime. A couple other active games right now in the first half. Chattanooga and Illinois, 25-22. The Illini up by 3. Let's go to Charlotte and courtside with Tim Brando and George Raveling.
UT Chattanooga trailing by 3 points with 6:44 remaining. Neither team sees in control of this game, although No Tree, you see there with Lon Kruger, giving a lot of help to Chris Gandy to stymie Johnny Taylor, who only has 1 field goal, the leading scorer for Mac McCarthy's UT Chattanooga Mocs. 25-23 with Marquise Collier at the free throw line. The last time Illinois made it to the Sweet 16, that 89 team that wound up in Seattle, losing in that semifinal against Michigan, Steve Fisher's glory weekend, and Seattle, Washington, taking over the reins, you'll recall, for Bill Frieder. An Illinois team with the likes of Liberty, Bardo, Anderson, and Harris trying to make his name worthy of similar history.
Chattanooga trying to keep that run going, and they're down by 1, though, against Illini, 25-24. Another game in action, another WAC team up in Pittsburgh. New Mexico trails Louisville, 39-34. Let's go courtside here with Mike Gorman and John Sunvold.
17:45 to go here in the second half. The Louisville Cardinals have come out on fire, and they have opened up a 5-point lead, 39-34. First half, 90% of that first half, New Mexico led. Foul trouble by Louisville. And there's going to be one on Dantzler coming to help out on Thomas.
DeJuan Wheat has started on fire again, just like he did Friday night of the second half. Bozak Smith, a little high pick, the handoff, the jump shot, very deadly with the shot. This time Sims kicks it to Wheat, right on target. You see him backing up. He's hobbling again. Well, if it's the ankle, that's a positive. If it's cramps in the calf muscle, that is not a positive, because that is hard to get rid of.
Thomas uses it all, but gets the free throw.
Thomas only 4 points the first half. Only 3 shots. Had 2 free throws, but already they've gone to him once for the basket this half, and now he's on the free throw line.
Lobos back to within 3.
Lobos need to stop. Always the key. Make someone else besides DeJuan Wheat shoot the basketball.
Here's Wheat. Gets a little screen. Gibson stays with him. Little reach from behind by Gibson. Dantzler finding daylight. No. Thomas in traffic with a rebound, and he got whacked. I think it's going to be Dantzler. And Thomas taking one across the face.
Have to be careful with the basketball when the Louisville Cardinal is around.
On a physical basketball this afternoon, Louisville leading by 3, 39-36, and we'll keep you up to date, of course, on these. Here's what's happening later here in our second round of games. Coppin State in Texas, Clark.
Good matchup. Both teams like to play in transition.
Temple in Minnesota, about 4:51, and then Stanford. We'll see Tim Duncan again in Wake Forest. That's at just a little bit after 5 o'clock. Thank you for watching Pennzoil at the Half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
Pennzoil at the Half was sponsored by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
To be a great athlete, you need talent and lots of practice. What you don't need are drugs. Using drugs won't improve your skills or your life.
If you or someone you know needs help or information concerning drug abuse, call this toll-free number, 1-800-662-HELP. This message provided by the NCAA.
Relive March Madness again and again. Experience all of this year's action with the official 1997 NCAA Championship video. Call now, 1-800-747-7999. It's all here, from the excitement of the opening rounds to the drama of the Final Four. Order the official 1997 NCAA Championship video by calling 1-800-747-7999.
Thousands of athletes, hundreds of tributes, one great place, the NCAA Hall of Champions, open year-round in Kansas City.
Introducing a new network dedicated to real stories about real people. CBS Eye on People. Available on cable and satellite.
The Utah halftime lead is 8. It was 17. They amassed that big lead early, Billy. Show us why with the coach's edge.
Well, Michael Doliak, who stepped outside often today, we'll see him set a back screen. Man comes through. Van Horn steps out. Miller hits him with the ball. Nice screen down in for Doliak, and Doliak goes to the outside for his jump shot. Cool gets caught in the traffic. There's the back screen. Here comes Miller for the screen in, and Doliak hits that jumper where he's so effective. We'll see the live action. There's the screen. Cool just can't get out there in time, and a nice square-up shot by Doliak.
Utah did not make a field goal the final 5:50 of the first half. A 13-4 run by the 49ers. 39-31. We'll return to Tucson after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship.
How do you make a great buy better?
Start with 88 by Oldsmobile. Well equipped at $23,100, 88 is ranked best premium midsize car and initial quality, ahead of cars like Camry and Maxima in a J.D. Power and Associates consumer study. To celebrate, let's make it better. For a limited time, get an additional $1,000 cash savings on 88 by Oldsmobile. A great buy made better. See your local Oldsmobile retailer today.
CBS. Welcome home.
Here we are, sunny Phoenix, all for free. And all we had to do was tell a little lie. Nah, telling the truth gets you nowhere.
At British Airways, we'll give you a free ticket to anywhere in the USA if you fly our business class to London and can honestly say it's not the best in the air.
What'd you get in it done? Party.
Really? Eagled it. The business class guarantee.
Can't believe we got away with it.
Honestly, you'll love it.
At Michelin, a tire that's just good in the rain isn't good enough. Introducing the Michelin X1 with a 6-year, unlimited mileage tread life warranty. It gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus control in any driving condition. After all, it hasn't rained that much in years. The Michelin X1.
See your local Michelin dealer, Kirby Kale Tire in Charlotte, Carpenter Brothers Tire Service Marshville, and Mr. Nobody Gastonia.
Why does Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile have the largest network on the East Coast? So your cell phone will work here. And out here. It works here. To ensure that your calls get through, our network is so large, it's absolutely incredible. After all, a cell phone is only as good as the network it's on. Choose Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile.
Carolina, are you ready? Buick LeSabre, the car you made the best-selling full-size automobile 5 straight years and counting, is returning the favor. For a very limited time, buy a new LeSabre, Buick will give you free gas for a year. Or lease a comfortable 6-passenger, beautifully equipped LeSabre for $299 a month and get a year's worth of free gas. Get your best deal on an American bestseller at your Carolina Buick dealer.
And Cool gets a tie-up situation. Arrow belongs to Charlotte.
Rick Majerus, kind of amazing me watching him here on the sidelines. His club had an opportunity in the first half to really put the game away. Give UNC Charlotte a lot of credit, Melvin Watkins to go into that bench a lot of credit, but Utah really was their own worst enemy. Got very passive.
Cool had to be careful. Hansen almost took it away.
UNC Charlotte just out fighting them for the loose balls now.
Cool on the line, on the baseline. Utah ball.
And primarily, UNC Charlotte, when you look down at their shooting, just down 8 points, Jim. They're shooting 38%. You got DeMarco Johnson at 2 for 7. Sean Colson 1 for 8. You'd say they'd be in serious trouble here, but they still have a chance.
Van Horn, 3, doesn't drop. Van Horn now 0 for 4 from behind the arc. Tough pass. Colson a little optimistic with that effort.
Yeah, down 8 points. You really can get a better play than that. And again, and I'm kind of beating it to death, but the young guy is really worn out. Good screening by Utah.
Peyton 3. Yes.
Peyton was so solid in the Navy game, 6 for 7. Always gives you good defensive play. He's on downs right now and doing a fine job there.
That was the first field goal for the Utes in a 7-minute, 20-second stretch. Foul from behind, called against Van Horn. Utah with that 27-3 record, 90% win percentage. Actually, that's on Hansen. That was Hansen's second.
Utah, of course, the defending champion in 1944, won the national crown. Arnie Farron leading the way at MVP of that NCAA tournament.
He was the freshman when he was the MVP. Whistle. Arnie Farron Freshman MVP of the 1944 NCAA championships. The next freshman is 42 years later. That honor. Purvis Ellison.
Nervous Purvis. Never nervous.
Colson collects his second personal. That'll send Miller to the line for 2. Miller on the season from the free throw line, 56%.
Which is kind of unusual, Jim, to see a backcourt guy that's got such a great assist-turnover ratio and then not to be a good free throw shooter. He has the ball in his hands in key situations, and that's something that has to make you a little nervous as they advance or try to advance in this NCAA tournament.
Hit a game winner, though, late in the season. Jumper against Tulsa. And Tulsa right now at the same time trying to find a way to the Sweet 16 as the Utes play here in Tucson. On the back, Hansen, his third.
Nice interior passing. Trying to get Shaw rolling here. I wonder when Gardner's going to come back into this ball game, or Bundy. They're the two guys that gave UNC Charlotte the push to get them back in this ball game.
(44-31) Utah. Colson 3. Blue inside. Gets a second try. Alexander
Cool, just a 58% free throw shooter, Jim. You'd think when he's in that easy for 2, you might as well foul and make sure he doesn't get it up.
Van Horn's first 3 of the day. You're talking about Cool, only 50-some-odd% from the line. He's only 50% dunking this year. He's 4 for 8 dunking. 3 by Downs and a rebound by Hansen. All right, Utah about to open it back up again, leading by 14.
Nice help by Shaw. Goliak wanting another one of those jump shots of his.
Turnover.
Rick Majerus over there on the sideline, Jim. I was checking on how much tape they watched film the other day. Their game ended at 5:30 the other day. They started going into the tape room at 6 p.m., worked till 1 in the morning. Rick came in at midnight, stayed until about 1 because he likes to sleep on it. They got up at 7 o'clock the next morning, worked on tape till 12:30. Rick worked on it from 10:30 until 12:30. Do you think there's anything at all that they don't know about UNC Charlotte? Just break down film after film after film.
Johnson, this is inside. Cool tried to keep it alive. Hansen retrieves for Utah. Goliak traveled.
He had the right idea. He's kind of mad at himself because he'd been baiting Cool the whole time with that jump shot. Cool came running out at him, and he just pump faked and moved those feet too quickly.
Next set of games, Coppin State against Texas. That's an East Region action. Temple against the 1 seed Minnesota in the Midwest. Stanford and Wake Forest from right here in Tucson.
You notice, Jim, Colson, a guy that has the ability to put the ball on the floor, as we'll see Brevin Knight in the second game, and just blow by it. Today, he hasn't been able to beat anybody off the dribble.
And Shaw still scoreless after 19 on Friday. There he is. Shaw gets his first 2.
Boy, really used the glass nicely there. Soft shot.
47-35, Utah.
Now they back into the zone as UNC Charlotte.
McTavish 3. Cool with the rebound.
Nobody open on the ball to get on the glass at all for Utah when they get a shot from a strange player at a strange time.
Downs with a 3, and they cut it inside a 9-point lead.
Boy, Melvin Watkins doing a great job on the sideline, driving his ball club. Rick Majerus had been very passive over there.
47-38.
Here's that zone defense. Are they playing the box and 1 on Van Horn? Because he's just standing still. You can't tell.
Perimeter passing now inside. Goliak, 3 players around him. Hansen for the 3.
Good block out by Downs on Van Horn. Just kept him completely off the boards.
Big possession here for the 49ers. point. We'll reset.
Looks like Utah now starting to wear down a little bit, Jim. They don't have the same fire they had early in the ball game.
Colson, three-pointer. Gardner puts it back up.
And there's Gardner, as I said, coming off the bench. I think we'll see Bundy shortly as well. You can see Colson has been short just a hair on every jump shot. Just doesn't have that. No sooner said it, and here comes Bundy in off the bench.
Dayton fires the three. Cool with the rebound.
And there's Downs taking off.
7-point game, trying to trim it more. Colson.
Colson's so frustrated.
Yep. Foul against Gardner. Colson just keeps firing, and he just doesn't have it today.
Yeah, he has to understand that and just try to get everybody else involved in the ball game.
Timeout on the floor. Utah 47-40.
How do you make a Best Buy better? Start with 88 by Oldsmobile. Well equipped at $23,100. Selected one of the best values of the year. 88 is the only full-size car to earn a Consumer's Digest Best Buy Award an unprecedented 7 years in a row. To celebrate, let's make it better. For a limited time, get an additional $1,000 cash savings on 88 by Oldsmobile. A Best Buy made better. See your local Oldsmobile retailer today.
Consider the potential for long-term performance, it's easy to see why over 10 million investors put their trust in Fidelity. All aboard. Call 1-800-FIDELITY for a free copy of our fund guide.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Oldsmobile, Budweiser, Nike, and by Fidelity Investments.
Utah's lead 47-40, but Charlotte scored the last 7 points before the break and had a chance to even cut into that lead a little bit more, but Colson missed on a drive.
Now, Jim, we see the two guys that really picked up their ball club in the lineup.
It was 39-31 at halftime. Utah opened it up to 47-33. A 7-0 run by Charlotte.
Here's a 1-3 matchup zone now by UNC Charlotte.
Somehow Doliak left open on the baseline. Colson handling the ball, Billy. 1 for 11 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3.
Well, Jim, you could sense it right at the start of the game. He just didn't have the crisp quickness in his legs.
Over the top, Gardner inside for 2.
Gardner has it. You can look at him sprint back down the court. You can just see the difference between a guy with fresh legs and what excitement he brings to the lineup. Really a nice job right here by Melvin Watkins to get the guys in the game that wouldn't traditionally be here but are offering something today.
Dominguez Bundy also in the game, number 15. He had a couple of threes off the bench at the end of the first half.
Now there's the box and one. They're playing Caton the box and one. It really doesn't make any difference to them with Van Horn out of there now. Who they've got. Nice defense.
Menela, rebound, Cool.
That was sensational by Downs because he's the guy guarding the box and one man and still had the presence of mind to come out and draw the charge.
Berger inside Colson. Now 1 for 12 and 0 for 6 from behind the arc.
It would be smart for Colson to stop shooting the ball and just try to handle the ball today because he just doesn't have the shot.
Medalist puts it back out. Miller driving.
And what Melvin Watkins is going to do, he's going to make the substitution and bring in Roderick Howard and give Colson the rest. Colson's getting frustrated.
Colson called for that one, his third. Number 50, Roderick Howard. Stanford and Wake Forest will be the second game of the day in Tucson. The winners from this site advance to San Jose in the West Regional.
You can see Miller taking that ball out of bounds, and you got to go back to the SMU game where Miller made the perfect delivery to Van Horn to win that ball game, or they'd have been knocked out of their own tournament in the first round.
He has 7 assists today, does Miller, with no turnovers.
You like those numbers, huh?
Doliak, he has now hit 2 out of the timeout. Goes to the scorer's table after a rest.
How about Gardner with a nice screen for Downs?
Downs comes up way short, and Utah off and running. Johnson takes the middle.
I can't get over the difference between guys who didn't play many minutes the other day. Doliak just did run over half court here. The difference in the quickness of guys that didn't play a lot of minutes. That's something in the second game, Jim. Stanford used their personnel substitution-wise a lot more than did Wake Forest.
Timeout on the floor, 9-point lead, Utah.
No two
GM owners are alike.
We drive a lot of different kinds of cars
and trucks for a lot of different reasons.
But when J.D. Power and Associates ask new vehicle owners about the quality,
sales experience, and delivery of
their vehicle,
the different
GM owners
wound up
mostly saying the same thing.
Same thing.
General Motors bringing highs in satisfaction right from the start.
In motion.
Pizza Hut employee memo number 44. For Hoops fans, March brings one number to mind.
4!
As in?
It's in the Final Four.
Right. So we're going to give them a deal that's easy to remember.
Back to work, everybody.
Give them a large pizza, a Pepsi, buffalo wings, and breadsticks.
That's 4 things.
4 things?
For 4 people.
For $4 each?
Yep, that's 4 things.
For $4 each?
For 4 people.
You guys are quicker than a point guard. Of course, once fans hear about this deal, you're not going to have time to work on that hook shot.
Oh. When you see that 2,000% a year internet growth rate, you want to just jump in. Thing is, the internet can help you gain or lose a lot of customers very quickly. If you disappoint someone, they can tell a few friends or a few thousand. It makes it crucial to work with a computer company that has experience helping people do business on the net. Not to mention the world's fastest servers, like digital.
Digital, whatever it takes.
Dedicated men and women enforcing the laws of the nation.
All I want is a conviction.
You just got him killed. The critically acclaimed Feds, CBS Wednesday.
Well, Rudy Davalos, the outstanding athletic director of the University of New Mexico, the NCAA member here. Now, here's the line. A manager has been put in. They said, hey, Rick, don't go over the line. Watch this hand right here. Grab Rick by the knee if he crosses the line. Boom, coach, you've gone too far.
Can't get out of the coach's box.
Well, you don't want to be out of that coach's box.
51-42 Utah.
You know, Rudy'd be the one guy that you'd certainly want there, though. He's played the game of basketball, coached the game of basketball, so he knows the pressure.
Caton, last second, goes inside Johnson. Oh, they say a foul on Howard.
Looked like a Pretty good tie-up. Now here you can see what Melvin Watkins has done. He knows that Colson is really struggling, so he's brought Howard into the ball game, try to get a little bounce from that point guard position. Watkins doing a good job here, trying to root this team on in. They go back to man-to-man now, as opposed to that box and one.
Miller jumper.
Good looking shot.
Very nice. Louisville beating New Mexico by 5. Late in that game, about 8 minutes remaining.
That would be the first WAC team to be beaten, right, Jim?
I think the WAC got shortchanged by at least one spot in this tournament. They had 3 teams make it, a 2, a 3, and a 5 seed. How do you not merit someone down on the lower end? You have 3 20-game winners that don't make the tournament.
Howard, there it is.
Good shot.
How about that coaching move?
Well, Colson wasn't giving it to him today. And that 3 makes it 53-45. Howard's first points.
And he leads the conference 88% from free throw line. Comes up with a big jumper. This game could get tight here if they don't figure out how to get Van Horn going offensively.
Payton up and over Bundy. 10 points for Caton.
Van Horn has been very quiet, Jim, here in the second half. Actually, from the latter stages of the first half.
Has 3 points in the half. The one 3-point shot he's made today.
Hadn't really had a lot of touches.
So we approach the 10-minute mark with a 10-point lead. Hansen returns for Utah.
Shaw in, seeing if he could get something generated. Bundy sits down.
David Jackson, number 3, also in for the Utes. Howard back out with it is Andre Davis.
Nice pump fake.
Way off the mark, though, that time.
Howard rather shoot than pass. Miller just takes advantage of it.
And Howard bumped him pretty good. That's the 7th team foul against Charlotte. I'll send Miller to the line for a 1-and-1.
Jim, you go back and think about UNC Charlotte in '77. The year before, they went to the finals of the NIT, lost to Kentucky. They came out, they beat Central Michigan in overtime. Then Syracuse was ranked 6th in the nation. Then number 1, Ricky Green's Michigan team, moving on and losing to Marquette. And then in what used to be a consolation game, lost to UNLV.
That, by the way, was obviously not a 1-on-1. They had marked it as, well, they got 7 up on the board here, but it's only 6. And Van Horn made first-team All-America, no doubt about it, with Tim Duncan. Duncan was unanimous. 68 out of 68 voting.
But we get into some of the things about Tim Duncan in the second game, but when you start looking at his statistics throughout his career, you can certainly see where that was well-deserved. Became the all-time shot blocker in NCAA tournament history in his last ball game, going past Marcus Camby.
Utah has not missed a free throw today. The Utes 10 of 10 from the line. Now the lead back to 12.
They led the nation in free throw shooting just last year. This is a very good free throw shooting team.
57-45. Johnson has it knocked away. Miller reached in and took it away.
See, Miller reached in and took it away, Jim, because Colson wasn't moving. He didn't occupy it.
Running to the basket. Van Horn in traffic. Somehow gets it to go.
Great hands. DeMarco Johnson was right there. At best, that should have been a charge or a loose ball that gets away from you. Terrific job by the All-American.
22nd timeout. Van Horn with 23. This does take great hands here.
Watch these hands. He sees the man right in front of him, powers it on through, but the catch was so great there. I mean, this is threaded down inside. He makes the catch, knowing if you don't catch it, you can't ever shoot it. Puts it up. Johnson can't believe it.
Wife Amy, daughter Sabrina. They're expecting their second child in May.
And of course, one of the things that Keith Van Horn had to do and go in debt for, which is one of the things I'd really like to see changed by high-profile players, had to go in debt to pay for the $2.7 million insurance policy he had for his senior year. That's something that I think in the high-profile players ought to be paid for either by the NBA or the NCAA. Very unfortunate kids have to go into debt.
Charlotte now must be careful not to let this game get out of reach.
Shaw over the back.
Yep, Shaw called for over the back. 8:42 remaining.
Well, Jim, the difference in this game obviously is Colson. I mean, he had his career high of 24 points in an outstanding performance against Georgetown. Today just can't bring it to the table. And you just can't make up for that. You know, we're talking about a 14-point deficit here that never would be this big if he had been fresh.
Hansen at the line, a 1-and-1. 82%.
First miss of the night.
Charlotte ball. Van Horn can't believe it. $59-45. Can't afford any empty trips now.
Good double team by Utah. Hansen gets out to help out. And then his aggressive play gets a foul picked up on Shaw. And not something you really want to do here. You don't want to stop the clock and give points to your opponent or potential points to your opponent with fouling. Just play solid defense.
Fourth foul on Hansen, and only the third team foul. Shaw over Metal up. Rebound Van Horn.
Van Horn had 11 rebounds against Navy.
Metal on. Yep. We'll go to the line for two. That Louisville lead over New Mexico now just two. 56-44. Tulsa Clemson also on a tight one.
Providence coming up. Signs of the day of Rick Pitino. Providence making a nice run in the NCAA tournament. Pete Gillen.
Metal to shoot two.
And now all the Duke fans will think about next year, Jim, with a tremendous freshman class of size coming in to match up with that perimeter game that they brought to the table this year.
Cool for Gardner. Did that Duke loss surprise you today?
You know, one of the things that when Mike Krzyzewski decided midseason and did an incredible job midseason deciding to go small and play a perimeter game, you know, they really had only a one-dimensional game. And if you're going to go far in the NCAA tournament, you better have some balance, an inside game, an outside game, and they did not have that. So, no, the game didn't shock me. They had a home crowd advantage, which I thought might be able to carry them through, but obviously it didn't.
Jackson's three spins out and cool. The rebound, Van Horn on the reach in. With 7:51 remaining, and Utah leading by 16. 7:51 away from a trip to San Jose. We'll be right back.
Tiger Woods takes on Augusta National. The Masters on CBS.
Jam time! Yes, puts it up and in. Watch this one. He stuffed it. Y'all ready for this? Gets his own rebound.
64 teams, 48 games, one manic march. This season, Budweiser and Starter are teaming up to create even more excitement.
That's the three and tie. Nothing but the bottom of the net. It's good. Bang, he got it.
Bud Hoops. Get in the game wherever Bud and Bud Light are sold.
We win. We win. That's unbelievable.
5:57 now, boys.
Hey, Junior, we don't want to miss our curtain. I hope you've got Hertz #1 Club Gold.
Well, not exactly, but this company's fast.
Oh, sure. Can't we skip the rental counter like it hurts?
Well, not exactly. Duh.
Hey, genius, I'm waterlogged. Doesn't your company have a canopy like Hertz? Well,
Not exactly. Remember, there's Hertz and there's not exactly. Choose the right one.
So you still think I'm the dummy?
Not exactly.
The waste
some people drive these days. Sure makes you want to talk to an Allstate agent. He can help you figure out how much protection you really need. Being in good hands is the only place to be.
A fella came in the other day, knew exactly what he wanted, but I didn't have it. So I told him I'd make a few calls.
Yeah, I'll hold. Don't have any? No luck, huh? You've got one? I'll be there first thing in the morning.
Hey, Bob, want to go for a drive? It took some time, but we found what he wanted. Although getting it took even more time, because we had to bring it back from a dealership a couple of states away. He was pleased we went so out of our way for a used car. I told him we did the same thing we would have done for a new car. Or Saturn, for that matter.
Billy, let's summarize this 61-45 lead.
Well, Jim, this has not been an exciting basketball game by any stretch of the imagination. UNC Charlotte really worn down by Georgetown. That became obvious early. They're not shooting the ball well, and they're not getting that kind of production from Sean Colson that they got the other day, and primarily the reason that they're behind. I don't think Utah's having a particularly good game either. And Rick Majerus seems to be satisfied to let the game be played as is. He's been very patient, almost docile over on the sideline, and I think he feels he has a superior team, and there'll be another day that he wants to whip them a little bit. UNC Charlotte showed a lot of heart, but they really don't have the legs that were necessary to make this a competitive game early on. Now, not to say they couldn't make some kind of a comeback here, but that would be miraculous. They made an incredible comeback against Tennessee a year ago when they were completely out of the ball game, and at Tennessee came all the way back, but this would be almost beyond miraculous here.
After a cool basket and a quick turnover, Colson
just not himself today.
Downs over to Colson again, 17 on the shot clock. That basket by Cool broke an 8-0 run by Utah.
Nice pad.
Cool.
That's a good foul.
Pretty firm foul, too.
Good foul.
By Van Horn.
You take away an automatic 2 and put him on the line where he's a 58% free throw shooter. That's a smart play. You can see how strong Cool is. Keith Van Horn gave him everything he could, and Cool still standing. Van Horn's on the ground.
You know, you look at Cool. He says he gets often mistaken for Matt Geiger around Charlotte. People always want to come up to him and talk about the Hornets.
Well, I hope that Matt Geiger picks up some of the checks for him, maybe, you know.
But if he doesn't have a career in the NBA, and he is 7'2", somebody might be able to use that size. He looks like a guy who would be great for the World Wrestling Federation.
Well, you know, that's the home of Charlotte, North Carolina. Maybe Ric Flair get a hold of him, huh?
Well, you got the contact.
Oh, boy.
Gardner comes in. Cool sits down.
Flair, a tremendous basketball fan, by the way, Jim. He was on the bench for a Wake Forest game this year. Tim Duncan, a big professional wrestling fan. I would imagine that at the worst, Cool will end up back in Germany playing the professional leagues in Europe. He went over and played on the German national team, as most people realize.
Again, he has a 7'1" brother, younger brother, Johan, who does not play, never has played basketball. 61-48. That foul on DeMarco Johnson was his 4th. So Doliak hit the line to shoot 2.
You know, we've been talking about Colson and talked about what an outstanding year he's had, and terrific game the other day. Probably played as well as anybody in the backcourt in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Today he's 1 for 12, 0 for 6. And in the first minute of this game, you could see he was not the same guy in terms of quickness.
Doliak knocks them both down. 15-point lead. Colson just making those numbers
1 for 13.
Yeah, all that much more of an eyesore.
See, even chasing down Miller there. He could run by him the other day just like the road runner and face him up. That time he had a hard time laboring down court to catch up to him.
6:30 remaining. 15-point bulge.
Caton wide open, nobody on him, and nobody sees him. Not a good job by Utah.
Gardner inside. Colson lobbed it over the top. Get the assist and gets the steal. There you go, little flurry, but Gardner can't find the handle. Pass was a little bit too much at the feet and ankles anyway.
Well, the heart is there.
20 seconds. Timeout.
20 seconds.
Providence, the only team from the Big East still alive in this tournament, carrying the banner of the Big East to the Sweet 16. And when they made it to the Sweet 16 in '87, they made it all the way to the Final Four with Rick Pitino as the coach. Keith Van Horn moved past Danny Ainge on Friday to become the conference's all-time scorer.
And Jim, we talked about Utah winning the national championship back in '44. They went with Billy the Hill McGill in '61. They went to the Final Four, lost to Cincinnati. That was those great Cincinnati-Ohio State final battles. And they also lost in the consolation game that year to St. Joe's in the year of the basketball scandal, which St. Joe's records were taken away from them. Jack Ramsey, the great coach there. And they went back in '66. Jerry Chambers was the MVP of the Final Four that year, even though Utah lost both games. Kind of an unusual combo.
Miller off the pass from Hansen. Utah's trips to the Final Four in the '60s under the direction of Hall of Famer Jack Gardner, who is the only man we know of who's made a visit to every Final Four since the first one in 1939. We look forward to seeing you, Coach, up in Indianapolis.
Wonderful gentleman, and you know, I put that out as a challenge for anybody to say that they've been to every Final Four other than
Jack Gardner.
Coach Gardner, yep. Hall of Famer.
Still resides in the Salt Lake City area. Doliak on the blocks. Turn around for two.
Too big for Gardner.
67-50. Doliak was 16.
You can see how well coached Utah is with this execution on the offensive end. They aren't playing the emotional game that you would expect at this point, but they are really executing. Half-court offensive sets. If you ever watch a Utah practice with Rick Majerus, they go over this in what you call a dummy without defense. Hours on end.
Horn. Great pass.
Perfect execution.
Nice assist. 18 for Doliak, and Utah has its largest lead. 49ers call a 20-second timeout. 4:30 remaining. Utah has controlled this game from the start. A little rally by Charlotte before the intermission, and one brief moment in the second half to get it down to 47-40. 22-10 run since that time.
Even think Rick has got a sweat up today. What do you think, Jim?
No, I don't think
I've never seen him this passive at a basketball game. Maybe he was a little offended when we did all that telestrating of his great leaping ability in the WAC tournament. So he's staying on the ground today.
I don't think his feelings are that easily bruised. I think he knows he's going to have to save some of that energy and emotion for next Thursday night in San Jose. When he could be facing Wake Forest, it'll be Wake or Stanford. That game coming up next.
You talk about a home court advantage, I mean a home crowd advantage. When you think Stanford would have a great opportunity if they were to be victorious today. Do we have a flagrant? I've never seen that particular signal, but is this a flagrant foul? Intentional. I didn't see the call by the official in regard to the signal, but he calls it intentional. Now, if it was a kick, you'd have to call it flagrant.
Downs was the culprit. Oddity there is UNC Charlotte was inbounding the ball. Leave it to Bob Fishman and Bob Deacon's to find it for you. Yeah, a little inside, let's say, on the inbounds pass.
Well, he kept his concentration enough to make the free throws. .54 minutes remaining. Van Horn, 3. Shaw looked down to have to find the three-point line, took away some of his concentration.
Still on the floor, fighting for the loose ball. Hansen with 2 at the other end.
The second time today we saw Utah. Caton in the first half, remember, went to the floor, scooped one up, and set up a fast break opportunity, so that's 2. Just quicker to the ball. And you can, if you're Utah, you can send a letter of thanks to Georgetown in regard to this particular game.
Just physically beat them up.
The physical nature of Georgetown, the great hustle they put into the game, it's a team that can't shoot straight, but a team that plays so hard, and they took a tremendous amount of the physicalness out of UNC Charlotte. They just don't have any legs whatsoever today.
Hansen fouls out with 4 points. Gardner comes in for Shaw. There's a timeout on the floor. 3:28 remaining before it's official. Utah's on its way to the Sweet 16.
When my grandfather surfed the Bonsai Pipeline, narrow boards ruled. Eventually, Gramps had a stroke of genius. A wider board for better control. He said, wider is better.
Introducing the new Wide Track Grand Prix. Its wheels are set wide to hold the road for more control when you're shooting the curves.
It's true.
The new Wide Track Grand Prix from Pontiac. Wider is better.
I'm a soft-spoken kind of guy. There's nothing more important to me than a quiet chat with my son, Shaquille. I just marched to the phone and dialed 1-800-COLLECT. The money I saved him, he can use to buy some new backboards. Take it to the hole, Shaquille. And they wonder where he gets it from.
1-800-COLLECT. Save the people you call up to 44%.
You've always loved playing Monopoly.
I never win.
Well, your luck's about to change. Play the Monopoly game at McDonald's. It's better than ever with lots of great prizes. You could win up to $20 on the spot. A new Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition or $1 million. Just buy McDonald's large or supersized fries to play. Because this time, the money's real.
I won.
The Monopoly game at McDonald's. What do you want with your fries?
Go where you wanna go. Find the road you've never taken.
Introducing the all-new Goodyear Wrangler ATS with dual traction lug channels that evacuate water for serious traction in the wet, especially in braking. The all-new Goodyear Wrangler ATS.
Serious freedom. Goodyear, Goodyear.
Monday. Sid and Nat's Deli is naming a sandwich after me.
This is one hero that's hard to swallow.
I think he's dead.
Are you sure? Because I've been fooled by men before.
Inc., CBS Big Company Monday.
Yeah, here's the intentional foul again on Downs. Knee to the groin.
Jim, if an official saw that particular incident, okay, which he did because he called it an intentional, that's
should have thrown him out.
Absolutely, that's a flagrant foul. You're out of the ball game. No question about it.
But he's still in the game. In fact, he'll be inbounding the ball here in a moment.
If I'd say anything to Hank Nichols and the guys that have done such a fine job with the rules, the one thing this year that I think, every year you go into a new year with a point of emphasis, I really think that intentional fouls and flagrant fouls are something that need to be reinterpreted a little bit and handled a lot tougher.
I know you feel that way, particularly at the end of a game when it's obvious someone's fouling, just to put them on the line. Three-pointer by Gardner.
Well, Gardner has been the one holder today that's exhibited the quickness that this UNC Charlotte team possessed throughout the course of the year, and certainly in the first round of the tournament. But he didn't have to play that many minutes the other day against Georgetown.
Well, he has a career high with 14, as Jermaine Gardner.
Little half-court pressure now by UNC Charlotte. Melvin Watkins realizing he's got an uphill fight. Nice patience. Goliath wants another jump shot.
Cool. Puts the clamps on it. His 11th rebound. Downs from the corner. 3 off the mark.
Utah not even looking to break it up the court. Goliath walking up the court himself. And Rick Majerus just wanting to use up some clock here. Realizing he needs no more points. Do you get a feeling Van Horn is just kind of hanging around down his baseline waiting to break free?
We'll see probably one of those dunks before it's all over. Left alone for a moment.
Peyton telegraphed the pass, and there's the difference in the hands of a Van Horn and that of a Cool, and therefore the passer has to realize who he's throwing to as well. I mean, you got Cool on the run. The ball was thrown behind him. No way to pick it up. UNC Charlotte guys are just sitting back here. They're just absolutely exhausted. Some people probably have a hard time realizing, say, gee, they had a day rest. But just so much emotion and energy put into the Georgetown game that this team wasn't able to come out today and get it done.
Let's remind you that the games coming up, Coppin State against Texas. Coppin State continue a Cinderella ride. Temple, Minnesota, Stanford, and Wake from right here in Tucson. There's Van Horn left alone.
I said sooner or later he'd find a hole.
25 for the All-America.
Jim, you had a chance in the studio to see that Coppin State victory. There's Bundy from way out.
Third 3 he's made today.
But you saw the Coppin State. How about those kids? How happy they had to be to not only win for the first time for their school, but also for their whole conference.
The MEAC had never won a game in the tournament before. In South Carolina, many thought would even have a shot at a 1 seed, and they get knocked out first round. Only the 3rd time in tournament history that a 2 seed lost in the first round.
Well, we're going to see a team coming up here in Wake Forest that went into the mid-February looking like they're an automatic 1 seed. They found themselves going into a tailspin, ended up with a 3 seed, and that's why they're going to have to face such a tough opponent today in Stanford. A lot of difference between that 1 and 2 seed and a 3.
So Soliak sits. Subs in everywhere. Ashanti Johnson, 32. Jordy McTavish, number 11 for Utah.
We'll see Van Horn coming out after this one.
This to give him 27. There you go.
The all-time leading scorer past Billy the Hill McGill at Utah, and then past Danny Ainge for the all-time WAC scorer.
Amy approves. They're heading to San Jose. The Utes for a Thursday night game against the winner of Stanford and Wake Forest. Bundy also with a nice game off the bench today.
What do we say in the first half? Bundy and Gardner with the quick legs, the only guys that really were able to be at 100% for their team.
He has a career high with 11. But it's all but over. 46 seconds to go. We'll be right back.
Enterprise? Hi, I'm at the repair shop. I need to rent a car.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up.
This is great.
Drive you to our place and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Rise and shine.
You're so obnoxious.
But employed.
Nice way to treat your brother.
Here, gotta run.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars.
Low fat, no preservatives. What's it taste like?
A soft crust with real fruit in the filling.
I'd eat this on my way to work.
Or to an interview.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars. Start your morning off right. And introducing new mixed berry Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars. 3 berry flavors, 1 luscious real fruit taste. The news is out. Mixed berry season has just begun.
They say the 50s were the golden age of television. But today we can actually use our TVs to surf the internet. So we can go places we've always dreamed of going. Find out about almost anything. Hear things we've never heard before. Amazing.
Web TV from Philips Magnavox. The power of the internet now on your own television.
I really do have dandruff.
So I did it. I took the Dinerex test. Dinerex tingled. Head and shoulders, nothing.
All these have effective dandruff medicine, but Dinerex has something extra that tingles, feels fresh.
You won't see me scratching my head in Miami.
Dinerex, the serious dandruff shampoo.
Introducing the rugged new Montana from Pontiac. It's the only minivan with seating for 8. Life is more exciting in Montana.
Pick you boys up same time tomorrow?
Time Magazine's best show on television. A place where the line between right and wrong is blurred by betrayal.
You gonna whack me, Jimmy?
Easy Streets, CBS Wednesday.
Tremaine Gardner of Charlotte, the Chevrolet MVP for the 49ers with his career high, and Keith Van Horn for the Utes with 27 points and 8 rebounds.
Jim, I put an exclamation point on what I've been talking about for most of this game. Bundy and Gardner scored 25 of UNC Charlotte's 58 points. Two guys off the bench, again, fresh, off the bench, really giving them a great lift.
Both career highs.
Right. Colson, 1 for 13 from the floor all over, and 0 for 6 from three-point line, and that's really been the story of this ball game. Shaw also had the great game, was 1 for 4 and 0 for 1 from three-point line. So the two guys that came up so big against Georgetown totally disappeared today.
Well, for Melvin Watkins, what a first season, though, as the head coach for the 49ers. They pick up their first tournament win since that Final Four dream season of 77. 22 wins overall. Just ran into a better team today, the Utes. This is a team good enough to make it all the way to the Final Four and win a championship. They take the basket away from Ashante Johnson.
I've done a lot of games, Jim, in the NCAA tournament, but I've never done a game that was so obvious so early that certain guys had legs and other guys didn't. And there you see Johnson explodes on by everybody that's just standing there kind of watching. Sometimes you get mentally fatigued, sometimes physically. I think it was a combination of both for UNC Charlotte.
So Utah advances to the Sweet 16. The Utes, the far superior team in Tucson. Melvin Watkins and his 49ers fall 77-58. The Utes win 2 games here in Tucson. The biggest deficit they faced in 2 games was 3 points in the opening minutes of the Navy game. So Utah is heading to San Jose to take on the winner of Stanford-Wake Forest, which will be coming up next. This one really never in doubt. There are other games, though, really tight at the moment, and let's get you there. Pat O'Brien in New York is our traffic controller. Back to you, Pat, in New York.